Well, when all is said and done, unofficially, Club DH are the 2013 iRacing World Cup champions. Although Jonas Zakarian took victory in the final of the 4 races here today, Robin Mundek and Benjamin Burmeister helped ensure that the DH club were able to retake a crown they lost 1 year ago to Club Finland and become a 4-time iRacing.com World Cup champion. For Club Finland, it started oh so well on both the road course and on the oval. However, whilst Gregor Hutu got pole on the oval, that race seemed to kind of undo for them just a little bit. And really, the final nail in the coffin was when Joni Hagner had that huge moment on the restart, steering his car to the outside wall and putting himself out of the race and really hurting Club Finland's charge. Then on the final restart, Alex Galomar, in a last-ditch attempt to try and gain some position, went 3 wide down into turn number 1, and it all went wrong for him. Will Vinson, along with Randall Shenworth, Joshua Chin and Katie Scott, as we are going to unpick what happened in these 4 races. Katie Scott, I'm going to come to you first. When you talk about World Cup of iRacing, there really is only one club that you think about first. Yes, Finland won the championship last year, but 3 before that were Club DH. They're now a 4-time champion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's provisional, but congratulations to them. Great effort. I think, you know, I'm actually quite proud this year. There's a certain amount of controversy you'll see on the forums and lots of discussions and lots of lessons to be learned. But I think actually this is the best overall World Cup we've had yet.
Well, yeah, we can talk about some of the controversy in a moment's time. We'll run through the points very quickly. Unofficially, Club DH, after it being just 4 points between them and Finland, Club DH end up with 618 points, Club Finland 548, Club Iberia 486 points, Club UK and I 406 points, and Brazil come home in 5th place with 398 points overall. Now, Josh, when you have a look at the races this evening, Finland, they were really good in qualifying, in the same way that Club DH were really good in qualifying this morning. But in the actual races themselves, a mixture of bad luck, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and many other things, meant that they just couldn't translate qual pace into race pace.
Yeah, even in race, a lot of their paces were really good, and just a lot of things ended up happening that cost them positions and cost them good finishes that they might have otherwise had those things not happened. I know even the road race, there were quite a few incidents that, even if they didn't lead to a damaged car, ended up hurting them points-wise, and there were, I think, quite a few points that were to be gained in that road race that they ultimately weren't able to capitalize on.
And in the actual races themselves here this afternoon, we had some very good racing, but the oval side of things, it kind of, I'm going to be objective when I say this, got messy. And oval races can go messy, and we see it so many times. I mean, we're IndyCar drivers, for Christ's sake, and we see races go messy all the time.
Yeah, it definitely, it wasn't the greatest showing at the end, and I think a lot of that was, there was some desperation going on, but up till that last 20 laps or so, it was a really great race to watch. Pit strategy in that race would have been really interesting to watch had it gone green, because we were right at the start of the pit stop cycle, and unfortunately we didn't get to witness that.
We were incredibly close to green flag pit stops. So I think as well that you really would have seen a lot of drivers come to the fold as well, because it is always the case when it comes to, you know, a World Cup and any big event, that anything can really happen. But it did seem to be, in this circumstance, it was more of a case of, you know, having to think it through strategy under caution more than anything else.
Yeah. There was some strategy moves, but I think a lot of that was based off who had the quickest pit stop. There were people taking 4 tires, especially on that last pit stop that everyone had, And ultimately, Burmeister was able to get out first. Ultimately, he lost that lead to Junis because of the way the restart worked out. But he gained so many positions on pit road during the race that it helped make up for a little bit of the speed that he maybe didn't have and was able to get track position from it.
Don't forget, by the way, you can talk to us on the YouTube page. You can also talk to us on Twitter as well. Use the hashtag iRacing World Cup or any of the 5 club things as well. I'm going to talk to the race winner very quickly. Jonas Nakurian, it's so great to see you taking victory and World Cup in Res.
Thanks, Viril. It's so nice to talk with you in the interview.
Now, let's be honest. Everyone has one of those races every so often that really just sets them apart from the field. You were having a 5-second lead over a WCS driver, Benjamin Burmeister. What was going on in that race that made you so good?
At the end of the practices, I was really comfortable with the car, and that's why when I had the free track in front of me, I was really kind of calm to just keep the car on the track and do the good laps and good pace.
Now, it's disappointing to see your club lose out on the World Cup this year, because you guys, I know you put a lot of effort into it, but the fact that you did claim victory at the end, do you really think that people, you know, the club will rebound in 2014?
Well, sure. There's a lot of things to look again, and the mistakes we did today, yeah, could have been negotiated a bit better. But overall, really awesome effort from Club Finland. I'm really honored to be part of this club.
We've got Alexei Loma here as well, and Alexei, you were involved in that last caution. Tried to make it 3 wide on that restart. Was it that last-ditch effort to try and get yourself some points?
Well, not really. I was just trying to take 1-2 or something like that.
Okay. So, I mean, of course, we've kind of been pretty up and down on restarts. You've had some good restarts. There's been some tough restarts. How hard was it to restart? And you can probably talk to me from Joni Hagner's perspective here. How difficult on worn tyres when you're running in a pack was it to, you know, get yourself going on what is a very long straightaway and a huge advantage to be had into turn 1 if you get a good restart?
Well, actually, I didn't notice any difference to the normal restart because we really didn't go anywhere in the last 20 laps. So the tires were almost like new, so wasn't really that different for me.
And of course, you're disappointed about the fact that you didn't win the World Cup, mainly because of the fact that you can't get some sexy t-shirts makeup this year. But it was a good effort overall. And what do you think that you need to do differently next year to be able to get yourself back to the top step?
Well, I don't know actually. Hopefully we can keep our cars intact and just got to have a clean race without any problems, and it should be there. But the club did a great job. The setups we had for the oval and road both were really fast. Just the race wasn't so good for us.
Not to worry. Well done on all of the efforts in the World Cup this year for yourself, Alexei, also to Jonas, and in fact also to the Club Finland team. And I'll bring Katie back into the discussion here, because we did see that all the way back in round number 1. Get your cars to the finish, chances are you're going to get a lot of points.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you know, it's the core of these races. You've seen so much of a crash fest that was. If you know, if we'd not, well, just look at the last crash. Aiden almost got through and just lost it, avoiding some traffic. If he'd got through, he'd have finished the race in 4th. You know, it's the way these races are. You know, the old adage: finish first. First, you got to finish.
And of course, I'll talk to you as Club UK and I, club captain for a little bit as well. 4th place. You were completely right about your Group A road performance. I mean, you were right on the money there. That was probably the toughest race that you guys had all day long. But overall, you can't really be too despondent. And you've got, again, a solid building block to move forward to next year.
Oh, undoubtedly. I mean, I'm really proud of. I'll call them my guys. I'm the captain, so I can. When about 2 weeks before the World Cup started, the week before the last chance qualifier, before I'd even got to the point where last season I was thinking about trying to, recruit people and actually get them moving. There were posts going up on the forums, and that started off 3 weeks of just brilliant teamwork. At one point someone turned around and says, "Cat doesn't seem to do much," and I wasn't doing much because I didn't need to do much because people like Andrew Streetley and a load of others whose name off the top of my head I can't remember put money in to put hosted sessions up. They started, ran setups were flying around. We were absolutely bang on the the teamwork side. And that means if we can carry that through to next year, we've got to go for 3rd. We were last year, 4th this year, so we've improved. And we've got to aim for the podium. It's going to be really tough to get any further than the podium because of the problems. I can't, you can solve so much with teamwork and improving and working together and that kind of thing. But you still need the aliens, and we are still lacking those. But I'm just proud of them. They've put the heart and soul into it and put in a superb performance.
And you mentioned, and we talked about this a little bit in the broadcast as well, about that top end driver. And let's not be too harsh on the UK and I guys. I mean, you've got some great guys coming through. I mean, people like Alex Simpson, for example. I think him, the AR UK team, have just been phenomenal in the iRacing.com Pro Series, Class A Williams this season. So you have got talent coming up. What do you need to do really on that top end talent for the next year? Is that something that you can do at a club level, or is it almost the drivers need to do it in their own racing series, and then you've just got to kind of bring it together at the right time?
I think, some of them didn't seem to take part in the World Cup this year. Hopefully they've seen the effort that the guys have put in, because in any of the clubs, a lot, you've seen clubs like Canada only had a couple of people take part total. So people have actually got to get engaged by it. But I think the fact that we had a really good team spirit going means that hopefully those guys will say, actually, that looks fun. I'm going to take part next year. So hopefully we can keep this momentum going, and that'll just drag these guys who are knocking on the door of pro, going into pro, maybe even Drivers' World Championship, and they'll say, actually, yeah, I'll give it a go. It's worth doing. But the team spirit is superb.
And final thing as well, in fact, I'll ask you to put your World Cup captain hat back on. Now, of course, speculation is a great thing in racing. What do you think you can do after, I mean, let's not forget, this is the 2nd year that we've run this now as a community-led project, and a lot of people forget that, iRacing ran this for the first 3 years, and then they stopped it, and it was taken over as a community project, iRacing fully supporting it. But as any series does, it has its teething problems. It's in its sophomore year now. What do we need to? What do you think it needs to get itself even better for 2014? Please don't tell me I need more camera angles, because I will cry.
A couple more streams would be nice, Will. No, I think I think the first one worked really well, but we were clearly not supporting the lower end of the grid. So we said, right, we've got to support the lower end of the grid, give them a chance to contribute. The principle of that worked brilliantly. Unfortunately, there's been some teething troubles that's thrown up, and I'm trying slightly politically correct with the way I'm talking here, rather than because there are some issues that people will be only too aware about. But I'm not going to go into those here. But with their cut for, I think the principle of the 4 races today worked brilliantly. I think today has been fantastic. But we've got to try and nail down these groups, try and work out, you know, where the splits will be. Are we going to go by iRacing? Are we going to use some other method of deciding what fields you've got to go into? So I think that's the area we're going to be improving. Also enlarging the stewards team. Started off very small. We had about 8 people doing the live broadcast, and I'm hoping some of those will move into the stewards office to handle the protests as well. And hopefully between the two, it'll smooth out that admin side, which has been, you know, there's been a lot of weight on mine and forgotten his name. Got my tongue in my cheek. Mike, that's the fella. Mike's back for this event. And we're realising that we do need a little bit, you know, just a couple of guys just sitting who can just sit there and do the admin behind us, and get these protests done, and you know, live admin. The other thing that's I'm definitely going to look at is the incident count thing. There were a lot of disqualifications to incident counts, and a lot of those were drivers who got caught up in wrecks that weren't triggered by them a couple of times, and they're already up to 8 incidents. The principle's good, but I think working out some way of mixing that with the live stewarding is going to be the way to go with that, because it's not nice having people disqualified when it's not really their fault.
So, 2030, you must be relieved now it's all done for another year.
Yeah, but 12 weeks, it all starts again, doesn't it?
Yeah, true. Well, thank you very much, of course, to you and to Mike and everyone from the team over on the iRacing World Cup organising committee. I think this year we have to say it's been the loudest World Cup we've ever had.
By far.
And we are going to talk to a couple of people now from Club Diatch, because I think it would be kind of silly not to talk to Club Diatch, as they are World Cup champions. They've all gone. They've gone, got themselves a drink, go and rest. But Marius Gonenbeck, one of their team spokesmen, and Robin Mundek we have here. Now, Robin, I shall talk to you first. Crazy race you had today.
Yeah, it was a very crazy race. It was a very tough competition because the Finns were very fast, and also the Brazilians.
And let's not forget, you didn't start today as the top team. In fact, you were only second after a horrible first session. Managed to get that back. Coming into the final race, you had the advantage, but what were you thinking when Hutu did that qualifying time?
Oh, we thought this is not possible because we have very experienced oval drivers, and we lost almost 0.3 of a second to him in the qualifying lap, and he's just very fast. We can't believe it.
But then in the race, yourself and Benjamin Burmeister have been right there all race long. Of course, you did go in a kind of crazy pit strategy early on in the race, which kind of played out overall for your club. Were you a little bit scared, though, as a club, thinking we might actually be back in the pack here and we could be the next wreck?
Yes, that was the reason why I stayed out, because track position is very important, especially when we only have 5 or 6 laps on the tires. So I was very scared, but it worked out.
And then those last couple of cautions as well. In fact, I'll take you back to the last 25 laps. At one point, there's 4 points between yourself and Finland. I'm not sure if you're aware about that. 4 points before the incident with Jari Sapala, and then, of course, with Joni Hagner. Were you aware how close it was at that point in the race?
Yes, we were aware of that because our captain just updated during the race, and we were very upset about it, but we made strategies to win again, and it worked out. So we are very happy about that, and close wins are the best wins.
And of course, you are once again World Cup champion. How does it feel to be back at the top step of iRacing club-wise?
Oh, it feels very good. It means a lot to our club because everyone is looking at the stream from our club, and the forum is full of posts about it, and everyone is very happy, and it means most to our club.
Well, congratulations, Robin. I'll talk to you, Marius, as well. Of course, you were with us in the broadcast booth this year. In fact, you're the only person on commentary-wise who's actually commentated all 3 years.
Well, including you, that would be, I guess.
Nope, I wasn't on Glacier for the first race.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then I guess I am. Thank you. I accept the award later on. No, but in all seriousness, it's just been overall a great event. If you maybe not think about the ending of the last over race, but that's been sort of the same last year. Just kind of gets a bit messy towards the end. So overall, I'd say it was a pretty good organized event throughout. I mean, I've never really had the feeling that Katie and or anyone from the organization for that matter, Michaelette, would leave this sort of in the open, like undiscussed, or something's being not clear to one of the drivers or members of the service. So for my opinion, even though I haven't actively participated more than just once in a qualification race, very thorough, very carefully organized event. And it just shows, I mean, I'm giving this away into the hands of iRacing drivers, of iRacing members, completely making them responsible for the success of the World Cup is something that works pretty well. And not only kudos to Katie Scott, but also Michaelette and everyone who's helped making this such a great event. It's always, like Robin said, it's always bringing the club members together. And I think more than the result, that's what it's going to be about, because that's what you remember. You remember, okay, we had a race, 6, 10, 12 of our guys overall, driving together on the track as one team. Even though we might fight each other on the track in regular competition, this time it's really just about nationality, club, and you're basically all a whole big team. So you have to get that through.
Now, last year you had the difficult part where you had to commentate on losing at the World Cup for the first time. As Club Finland won in what was a crazy race back at Texas 1 year ago. This year, how does it feel as a member of Club DH to once again be World Cup champions, and what sort of an atmosphere does that bring to the club?
Well, it might sound a bit strange, or it might sound a bit too cautious or not competitive enough if I say that it's more about the journey than about the result. So even last year, you said it, we missed the World Cup in a row by just a tiny bit, and Finland got it. I mean, that's only going to cause us to come back even harder, literally slingshotting back at the chance to getting the title. And I guess the last couple of years I've been involved in the organization myself for the club. This year it's been Florian Utst and Markus Girak, so it just proves they've been making a good point, a good organization throughout, and making this victory possible. But also, of course, for the whole drivers, it's not really easy coming back after such a bitter loss, because obviously everyone last year expected us to win. We didn't, but that's only going to make us come back harder. So I'm really just satisfied that everyone just stuck through it and never stopped fighting. That's just what it's about.
And you talk about coming back stronger. Do you think that next year Finland's going to amp up the charge even more?
Yeah, no question. I mean, they've been pretty strong this year, and it came down right to the wire. The last race, last couple of laps, and no one really could be safe at any point. But I think the only thing really giving us a slight upper hand is that we might have the better overall driver pool, let's say, for even the lower divisions. So Finland, obviously, no doubt, has got many, many good drivers, maybe even more in just a tiny bit squeezed together than DH has, but it really comes down about the full pack and even getting good drivers, good results in the lower grids. And that's always going to benefit us as long as we have this system that the whole surrounding, everyone from sub-1,000 I rating all the way up to maybe over 8,000 is going to be involved in this. And with multiple races, basically all you need to do is just score points wherever you can. And in the end, that's how you win. And I feel like that's how we won this time as well.
So when are the World Cup t-shirts coming out?
I hope it is.
Well, we hope to see them when they do come out. Marius, congratulations to you. Robin, congratulations to you. Great performance here at Pocono. And of course, let's not forget, Josh, there were 3 other clubs represented here. And I have to say, Club Iberia, they came in as the underdogs in many ways, but they came home 3rd. And they repeated really what I think Brazil did last year.
Yeah, they really put on a strong performance to end the World Cup finals. It didn't start off the way that they had wanted, or, I mean, even the races today didn't quite go the way that they wanted, but they were able to make good points out of it and come away with a pretty good finish. Hats off to those guys for making the most out of what they could.
And in fact, I'll bring you back into the conversation here, Katie. Last year, of all of the clubs who had qualified for the finals and had to, qualify to get into the top 4, it was last year, Iberia was second to last. And now they're the 3rd best club on iRacing. A crazy turnaround.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Iberia just seem to have had a good year. Many of you will know that I race radicals. And the last 2 years, they've just taken the radical series by storm. So that's why I knew they were, I'm not entirely surprised with seeing how they come on. But they just seem to pull, brilliant story, and just shows what, a club that was little known can do, and hopefully be an inspiration for, the clubs that didn't make it this year as well. If Iberia made it, we could do it.
And last year, it was Brazil. This year, it was Iberia. Which club do you think it's going to be next year?
Who surprises by making it into the finals?
Yeah.
It's got to be Florida, isn't it?
Florida? Chin, you're going to agree with that one, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think we get the right people running again next year. I think we can make it.
And of course, like, that's the thing. It's like, you had the Australian-New Zealand club who were right there and just narrowly missed out. Florida right there, narrowly missed out. And we are talking about the World Cup of iRacing, which for the last 2 years, since I've been covering it, has had no American clubs in it.
Yeah, we need to change that next year.
And of course, Katie as well. I'm having a look. Let's go back a little bit to those clubs who missed out. Texas as well. Club Northwest. I mean, these are clubs that you don't historically think have a very good roadside to them. But let's be honest, Texas and Northwest, if they could sort out their roadside just a tiny bit, then we know they've got the talent on ovals. In fact, Texas, Florida, Northwest are some of the best clubs in iRacing when it comes to oval racing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Northwest is obviously Mike's team, and they've always done a very good job. But they're not one of the bigger clubs, so they're again sort of a bit Finland size, I think, aren't they? So they'll we want a US team in there next year, because, well, there's no reason why there shouldn't be, and it's disappointing that they haven't made it yet.
Indeed, and that's one of the things we've got to look forward to over the next year. And of course, the most important thing for us really is to say congratulations unofficially to Club DH. But what was your highlight of the weekend? Do you think, Katie?
Today, it's just been a brilliant day. Okay, the oval side got very messy, unfortunately, but I just think that there was a momentum through the day. The fact that it's been eight hours of racing and sort of
disconnected from your channel,
changing stories. We won early on and then had a really bad oval race, so we dropped off, and then Iberia started to come through, and then Brazil fell apart, and it was like just that constant story just made a brilliant, just a brilliant story all the way through.
Well, Chin, it's all pretty much said and done for this year. And you got to say, DH, they did what they had to do every single race. And they came in as, joint favourites with Finland. And after the second race, you're thinking, they can't be stopped. And Finland came mighty close, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, it was really a battle all day long between Finland and DH as to who was going to get the points when they needed it. And I think the road race really helped DH. The final road race really helped DH just pull ahead and they were able to manage that in the oval final.
Well, we'll run through your final points just one more time. And Club Diat, 618 points. Club Finland, 548. Iberia, 486. Club UK and I, 406. And Brazil Club is 398 points. And that pretty much rounds up all the time that we have here. Don't forget, the Will and Dave show is every Friday, 4 PM Eastern. It's live, it's exclusive on GlacierTV. You can also catch up on episodes on iTunes. Josh Chin comes every other Friday. And how do we describe the Will and Dave show, Chin, in 5 words?
Highly entertaining train wreck with moments.
There we are. And we'll be talking about the World Cup just a little bit on that. Plenty of real life and sim racing stuff to talk about on the Will and Dave show. However, it is now time for us to say goodbye. And it has been a crazy day of racing here. The biggest production event GlacierTV has ever done. And when all is said and done, Club Diat take home their 4th World Cup Championship. Thank you very much once again to Laura from LSR TV, JDR Graphics of our Twitter takeover feed. Also to iRacing Brazil for the iRacing Brazil social feed, and to our good friend Pablo Lopez for one of his infamously good onboard streams as well, powered by Steel Series. I've been Will Vincent, that has been Marius Connenbeck, Robin Mundek, Katie Scott, Josh Chin, Randy Shenworth, John Monroe. I'm forgetting all the people here. Chris we had as well earlier on today. Yoni Backman, Yana Masakayan, everyone here at GlacierTV. Thanks for watching. I think we'll see you all next time. We might even see you next year.
And thanks to Will.
Ugh. Don't thank me.